Hi, friends. I'm Katie.
And I'm Lauren, and welcome to Okay, But Did You Know? A podcast where we talk about the TV and media that we love with a friend who's never seen it before.
Today, we're recapping and chatting about Bob's Burgers, Season 7, Episode 5, Large Brother, Where Fart Thou? And Episode 6, The Quirk-ducers. And we always start off with our synopsis. So here is Episode 5. I hate saying this.
You're
Large
welcome.
Brother, Where Fart Thou? It's a great time. This is,
hmm You know what?
Bob
For the
and Linda are
for the
going
fever
to.
dream that is Once
Oh?
Upon a Time. Sorry, just before we start. For the fever dream that is talking about the characters of Once Upon a Time, at least I don't have titles like this. That's all I'm saying.
That's, okay,
It's a
I'll give you
balance.
that. It's a balance. Bob and Linda are going to the accountant to do their taxes, but Tina has gotten herself into detention. The parents decide to leave Jean and Louise at home together, and technically, Jean is in charge. They find a rotted cantaloupe in the fridge and decide to throw it off the fire escape. Only Logan is under said fire escape and explodes all over him. Logan tricks the kids that he's made it into their house, and Jean and Louise have to escape him by hiding at Lobsterfest. Jean stands up for his little sister and takes the reverse Norwegian stinkhold in her place. Bob and Linda end up high off marijuana cookies at the accountant's office and try to survive the afternoon while the high wears off. Tina is crushing over a boy and goes through the ups and downs of her non existent relationship while sitting in detention. And we always start off with our puns, but let me make sure. Yeah, I have the right episode. What'd you get for the vacant storefront?
That's waiters gonna wait restaurant supplies.
I personally like this one.
I thought she might.
Pest control truck.
That is too bug to fail exterminators, which is, is fine.
It's okay.
We had a single burger. They're not all going to be 7 like there was from last
No.
week.
But you still complained, which was my favorite thing.
No, well, because the first episode had potential for multiple, and then there
It
weren't.
did.
Like when you tell me that there are 4 days until Halloween, that tells me that there's 4 burgers in this. You tell me there's 4 individual days in
That
this
all could have
episode.
had whole Halloween puns.
They all could have had Halloween puns, and you gave me one. Not okay. This episode was the Olives Kittredge burger with olive tapenade.
Don't know how I'd feel about that.
Yeah.
So obviously this is a title reference to the 2000 movie Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? And this is the only episode of the 7th season to be rated TV 14. The other episodes of the season contain a TV PG rating. I'm assuming the 14 because of the marijuana.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was like, why? But yeah, the pot would make sense.
And this is the second time we've seen Lobsterfest celebrated.
Mm-hmm. We have.
We love a good Lobsterfest.
We do. Bob doesn't.
Yeah. Most of Tina's lines in this episode are internal monologues. This is the first episode of the series where one member of the Belcher family does not interact with another family member throughout the episode. Because she's not any we just see her own little sea story going on.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Jean mentions that the B-52s are performing at Lobsterfest. This is one of the band's most famous songs is Rock Lobster, which Teddy asked if it was being played when Bob said they were playing the B-52s as hold music on the phone, and that was in the land ship, which is so fucking funny to me right now because this keeps coming up.
Land ship!
Although in reality, the band probably wouldn't be played at such festival, given that the band's frontman, Fred Schneider, is an advocate against the consumption of crustaceans.
Okay.
He once urged a boycott of the Maine Lobster Festival.
That makes sense.
So it's kind of funny where it's like, which is funny because that same Lobster Festival is real life inspiration for Lobsterfest. So they went for it with this.
For those who don't know this, also the fun fact about lobster and lobster consumption as a whole, lobsters used to be considered a poor man's food because of, at least in Maine, because of how ubiquitous they used to be. They were given as prison food, and it was only until much like a lot of stuff that happens in life with gentrification, when rich people find something and like it starts becoming very expensive.
Of course. And they only did it because rich people tend to have trends of trying to do things that poor people do.
Mm-hmm.
And that suddenly makes those things extremely expensive. There was a clip, I think it was from the Ali Wong, the romance movie she did,
Yeah.
And the guy shows up in a tux. He's like, no one's dressed up in this nice ass restaurant. She's like, oh, that's not their thing anymore. It's like $1,000 t-shirts now because t-shirts apparently need to be $1,000. So it's a
No.
trend.
No.
Can you imagine spending that much on a t-shirt?
I hate it.
I hate it so much.
No, I can't say I've ever spent more than maybe $30 on a shirt, and that's because it was like a design of something I got
Yeah.
at Comic-Con or I got on vacation somewhere.
Or like
That's
a
like,
graphic tee or a band tee or
yeah,
something like.
something from Disney World, you know.
I love how a band tee is my equivalent. And then Gerald's accounting firm is called See You Later Calculator Accounting. And
Okay.
next door is Joseph Pierce-esque attorney at law.
Esquire.
Esquire. It just says esque.
No, I know, but that's the abbreviation for Esquire.
Why is it Esquire?
Because lawyers are Esquires for some reason. I'm actually curious now where that comes from. I've never actually looked into that, though.
See, that's where my confusion's at. I'm like, why is that a thing? But yeah, it's Joseph Pierce, Esquire, attorney at law. So, fun times.
Yeah, for whatever reason, Esquire, I mean, the root of it means shield bearer, whatever, now describes someone who has the right to practice law in the United States. More specifically, the term Esquire denotes that it is a bearer not only attended and graduated from law school, but also passed the bar exam. So, like, Esquire is it's kind of like, you know, when some, like, Dr. Whoever, MD kind of thing. It's like, you add that on at the end because it denotes a certain thing. It denotes that you are not only someone who's been to law school. So technically speaking, anyone who's been to law school or graduate law school can call himself a lawyer, but you have to have passed the bar exam to call yourself an attorney.
Interesting. I wrote down 7 lines.
I have 6.
Okay, how many of them are the same? You ready?
We'll find out.
And don't use the stove or knives or the bathtub or matches. Well, then how are we going to have a hot knife bath?
I only have the how are we going to have a hot knife bath.
Okay.
Are you saying this is proof there's a God? I'm not saying there isn't.
We can't get stoned in the middle of the day. We're old. We have kids.
Well, our boyfriend is coming over any minute and he has a Bowflex.
That's my next one. Okay. Is Stalker Texas Ranger still out there?
You could do bad stand-up. That's really popular.
He totally knew I was stoned. He totally knew we threw a melon.
Don't you shrimp shame me.
Oh, it's my husband. Are you too little shrimpy to be shrimps? Don't you shrimp shame me.
That's my last one.
Oh, God. We both wrote down, of course, the stand-up one.
Yeah.
Oh, man. This episode had such good one-liners. We got, I love Hi, Bob and Linda so fucking much. I say this as a connoisseur of marijuana. Like, I've been smoking a long time. Mom and Dad, don't listen. So I really love this. Like, that whole scene with them.
That whole B-plot.
That whole B-plot.
That's the thing is, with the structure of this episode, Tina is absolutely like a B-C plot, but it's hard to tell between Louise and Jean and Linda and Bob which one is considered the B-plot.
A is definitely Louise and Jean.
Okay.
Like, that is the A plot because it's more high stakes. It's more emotional, I feel.
Okay.
I would put Bob and Linda at B plot personally, and Tina at C because she's kind of just got her own thing going on.
She's definitely the C plot of this.
So that's the ranking I put it in. I just really, really love this entire interaction because it's so Linda for them to be like, hey, these have marijuana in them. You just had a shit ton of cookies. And she's like, they're so good. Let me have another. And it's like, don't do that.
No. Because, like, that's also the thing with edibles is, like, I mean, mostly, I mean, they didn't know that they had marijuana in them when they ate them at first. There's that. But generally speaking, especially baked goods, you have no control over how much you're consuming per item. Like with pre-made edibles, you know what the dosage is. You know what's in the gummy that you bought or the cookie, whatever. The thing that
when you're baking,
there's no control because, like, yes, you put X amount in the butter, but how much is being really distributed amongst? It's not being evenly distributed throughout the dough or whatever, and there's just no way to control it. So one cookie could have nothing, and one cookie could have 5 times as much as you're expecting.
Like, it can really be up in the air with that one because, like you said, butter, and you have to, like, slow cook the green stuff into the butter.
Yeah.
and you don't know how much actually has been diluted. You don't know how much, like, you gotta, obviously, you know how much of the marijuana you're putting into your butter mixture, but
But
like,
you don't know how much
let's
is
say
being
your
actually
butter cooks off
absorbed.
too much.
Exactly.
That makes it stronger. Like, it's a very meticulous, like, process making, because you can do it with coconut oil. You can do it with, I'm not teaching people to do this, but anyways, you can do it with coconut oil or butter, and but still with either process. It's because it needs to combine with the fat.
Disclaimer, only listen to this section of the podcast if you're in a state where recreational use of this drug is legalized.
Thank you.
But yeah, letting the kids babysit Gail though is a mood.
It's so obvious that that's like, well, I guess it's obvious that, it's their way to get Louise to be babysat by
Mm-hmm.
someone like
Yeah.
Gail, and it's just so cute that they can still trick Louise
Yeah.
sometimes.
Exactly. But this is a trope from TV that, I mean, is all over the place, especially here and in Parks and Rec, of accountants on TV being people trying and constantly failing to be funny.
Yeah, it's a thing that
Like,
continues.
I know accountants. I know people who are CPAs. They're not like that. They're just regular people. They're not constantly trying to be like the funny person to make
Look,
up for the fact that their job is really boring.
the weirdest part about accountants is that they like doing math. That's the weirdest part of accountants, is it's an individual that exists that likes doing math. They're
Well,
they're weirdos. I say that as someone who's married to someone who likes math.
well, two people in my extended family on like my brother's like the family that he married into, two of them are accountants, and like they're like relatively like I'm not saying jack, but they're
Mm-hmm.
fit guys. And when we were at if you haven't heard me talk about the story before, my brother got married in Disney World, so we were there for a few days, and when we were my grandma who at the time was 83, 84, something like that, she's her mobility isn't what it used to be, and so like but she wants to go on the rides, and if she can we'll let her. So like a lot of the rides in Disney World you get in and out of them, or they're like it's the boats and kinds of things, and especially the boat ones where it was easy enough to get into and kind of help her in, they would try at basically at every instance they could.
Aww.
And after a while, my grandma, she's just like, they're always trying to help me, and they're always like, no, those are fit. Are they firemen? And I went, no, they're both accountants.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's just hilarious that they both were, but I was like, no, they're not firemen. They're physically fit regular people who happen to be CPAs.
They just, the weirdest part is that they like math. That's it. That's my how can you like math? I don't get it.
No, the computer does the math for me. That's
See,
what
I
I
don't know
always
how to do
say.
that part. I just get you to help me.
No, this is just
The amount of times I'm like, Lauren, how do I do this?
how do we
It's
fix
the
this up?
calendar all over again.
It's always the calendar all over again. But 17 layer dip though, like especially without the 13th layer because it's bad luck. Like that's I love the kid logic, but that's so many layers of that's like the Friends trifle all over again.
It is. But also, I feel like they would eat that.
Oh, Gene absolutely would.
Absolutely. I actually saw a video recently because, like, how much Friends have you seen?
I've seen. I think I've seen at least like the first 3 seasons, but then it's very hit or miss after that.
But like, enough of the storyline now because it's such an like this. It's a 30-year-old show. Like,
yeah, no, at this point,
it's because it came out the year I was born.
Yeah.
There's someone came out and made a video that said that Rachel did actually deserve to be with Joey.
Okay.
Because he eats the trifle without complaint, is always supportive of her no matter what, like all these different things that he did. So it just makes more sense for him to actually, because he ate her trifle.
Yeah, he did.
He enjoyed it.
It's weird, but you know what? He's gonna eat it.
Look, we all find our own like type of weirdo to be with, and sometimes it's someone who enjoys that.
Yeah. Logan in this episode though,
he was angry.
Like I wrote down like, Logan, listen to your friends who think this is a bad idea. You should get your hostility out. Yes, I agree that's healthy, but in a way that hurts no one. And just throughout the entire episode, I was just like, what is this kid's problem? It's the teachers on the power trips again for me.
Yeah.
It's I get that it's a cartoon. I get that again we need to heighten our suspension of disbelief here, but there's only so far it can go.
And like, I mean, I guess teenagers have a lot of pent up aggression. We're known, like, teenagers are known for that. His just goes to such an extent because, like, I don't see a good future for him if all of his aggression is towards a 9-year-old little girl.
No, exactly.
Like that's concerning.
I think that's the extra adage of this of like it's all of this aggression is on a child, and like he's a
And
high
that's
schooler.
where it gets weirder that people ship Logan and Louise together.
I hate it so much.
Like, think about that.
No, I don't want to.
Because it's true. And it's episodes like this where it's very weird that people do that. Like, and this is one of those situations where I'm not going to apologize and be like, look, if you like to ship these two, blah blah blah. No, they're children.
No,
yes, they're played by adults. These are but they're children.
There's a time and place for ship shaming, and that's it.
This is it. Because when people start shipping them together, I'm just kind of like, he's actively like abusive, and like this
exactly.
And how
I don't.
It's not cute.
People have a fucked up sense of everything. Like, and like his thing is, it's people have a fucked up sense of relationship dynamics, and they feel like a cartoon is a safe place to express that. And like, here's the thing: I am not bashing dark romance. I love dark romance when the characters are adults.
Like this just kind of feeds into the like, oh, he pushed you down. It means he likes you. That's not.
No, exactly.
Children, if you're listening in your parents' car. That's not what that means.
It's not what that means. But also, children should not be listening to this because what I'm about to say about dark romance. Like, truthfully, like, there's a book that I read that I enjoyed. But in it, I mean, I didn't like that the author didn't put content warnings actually in the book. What she does is say, like, I'd rather you go in blind, but if you want content warnings, they're on my website. But like, there weren't.
Oh no, I'd rather you go in blind.
They're not easily accessible. But here's my issue with this is maybe we don't say that when there's murder on page 2, but like that's a dynamic it was a dynamic of I'm gonna take you to get back at your father is his initial motive, and then it's a little bit of the oops, I've fallen in love kind of thing, but then he thinks that she's in cahoots with her dad, so then he kidnaps her, and then there's a little bit of Stockholm syndrome-y kind of situation happening while they learn to trust each other again, and then more murder. Like, that's not a healthy dynamic whatsoever, but it's all consenting adults.
But what book is this?
That would be Hooked by Emily McIntyre.
I saw a special edition of that somewhere.
Yeah, I think a new one just came out of it. I think
at Walmart.
Yeah, that whole series. No, truly, I've read 3 out of that series. I own the whole series. It's like 6 books, I think. They're, classic fairy tale retelling, dark romance, or classic literature retellings. The ones I read the Lion King. The Lion King one, it's technically a retelling of Hamlet, but it's Lion King, it's fine.
Yeah.
And then I've read also the one that's The Wizard of Oz, where it's the Wicked Witch and the Tin Man. In that one, the one who's the Wicked Witch, she melts Dorothy in a vat of hydrochloric acid. And also somewhere in the book, a gun is used in place of an eggplant.
I'm not
very 18.
I'm not judging.
Very 18 plus books. But that's also a case of I was reading that, I'm like, is this what I'm reading? Okay, but that's what I'm saying. Like, when they're consenting adults, that's the place where you can explore that in fiction, not when the characters are children.
No, I mean, yes, like we've spoken before plenty on this. So much. This is one of our favorite things to talk on, I think, when it comes to these kinds of things, because we have this situation of just because they're voiced by adults does not make it okay. Yes, they were created by adults. Like that, yes, we know. Adults are in the situation, but they are portraying children in media that children do watch, because we've spoken heavily on how it reached a certain point in Bob's Burgers, because like I said before, this is the only episode in season 7 that's TV 14. This is the only one. The others are actually PG.
Yeah.
So kids do watch this.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't like the whole.
No.
He pushed you, so he likes you. No.
No, I've never liked that mentality, but I did like how Jean protects Louise at the end.
Oh my god, it's the sweetest thing.
With all of this, like, it's just like, because like Louise doesn't deserve. I mean, Louise, no one deserves that at first. Like,
it was an honest mistake from Louise.
It was. They didn't see him. They just did it. But like, it's him sacrificing himself for her, and like I really liked seeing that.
I like how he's large brother too, because like mentally they're on the same, I think, kind of the same wavelength. Like, Louise is little evil genius, but at the same time he is older.
Yeah.
So it really was a larger brother? Like, yeah, larger brother.
No, yeah, I agree. I agree with large brother.
What did you rate this?
So it does get an 8 for character.
Okay.
Because again, with Gene protecting his little sister, or smaller sister, I guess, if we want to go in the other way, in the other direction with that, I like that. I also enjoyed watching Bob and Linda at the accountant with the weed cookies. But I felt like this episode, more so than other ones that have felt disjointed, it feels both connected and just disjointed, because obviously it's Tina gets detention, which means when they go to the accountant, the kids are by themselves, which then turns into everything is it's a chain reaction of events. But it felt more disjointed. Maybe it's because this is the first time that a member of the family interacts with no one else in the family throughout throughout the entire episode. So it does get that 8 for character, but it does get 5s for plot and personal.
Holy shit.
So
Okay.
this one got an 18.
Wow.
Yep.
That went a different route.
Mm-hmm.
Did not expect that. Because I gave character and personal both 10s because I do enjoy this episode.
Mm-hmm.
But plot gets 8 because some things just don't, I enjoy the weed story. I enjoy
it doesn't
Louise
flow as much as it should.
It's almost like if you had just left the Tina part out and given us more of the other two storylines.
Like if they had
it would have done better.
No, I agree. If they hadn't even bothered showing us Tina in detention, if they had just said,
yeah,
or even if we just saw her in detention, that was the end of her inclusion in the episode, I think that would have been better.
Yeah, but I enjoy it because all the character wise, all the characters do as the characters do, they are their personalities.
Yeah,
and I think I enjoy that because Frond isn't really annoying in this, but he's still himself. Logan's an asshole. We already know this. Every character is exactly as they are meant to be in the show. So, oh boy, we've been waiting for this one. You ready?
Mm-hmm. Let's go.
Episode 6, The Quirk-ducers. Tina is working on some erotic holiday fiction about the quirky turkey. Jean and Louise are upset they have to sit through Mr. Frond's play instead of getting their half day out of school. Louise figures out if they put on a Thanksgiving play that is so offensive it would get shut down, giving them their half day. They cast who they consider the worst actors and set up the heads of the turkeys to explode giblets and gizzards out. Tina overhears their plan and outs them to the cast. Everyone but Tina is on board with the idea. The explosion of giblets and gizzards doesn't go as Louise hoped, and she instantly regrets it. Tina insists the show must go on and continues her performance. Everyone loves her song, and the show does still get shut down. Meanwhile, Linda is convinced a potato she found looks just like her grandpa. She begins to take the grandpa potato with her wherever she goes. Because, who doesn't love a good grandpa potato?
Mm-hmm.
And what did you get for the vacant storefront?
This was let's give them stuffing to talk about Stuffing Emporium.
There's a turkey sign, like an LED turkey.
Yeah, there was.
And then the pest control truck.
From my cold, dead aunt's pest control.
It's a choice?
Yeah, it is.
So the burger...
There is half a burger that I couldn't read.
It is not fully visible, but it appears to be a reference to Alanis Morissette.
Okay.
Which, fun times.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we kind of figured out before today that this is a parody of the 1967 Mel Brooks movie, The Producers.
Yes, it is.
It also references the original title of this episode, which was The Quirky Turkey. You're going to love this.
Okay.
According to Lauren Bouchard, in an interview with AfterBuzz TV at the 2016 San Diego Comic-Con International, the original title couldn't be used because of copyright issues. There is also a SpongeBob SquarePants online game by the name of Quirky Turkey, which is likely why the episode could not be titled.
Interesting.
So SpongeBob
ruined a Bob's joke.
Which is so funny because everybody makes the whole, the Bob's Burger, SpongeBob, grill cook jokes.
Yeah.
This is the first Thanksgiving-themed episode of the show not to be written by the Molyneux sisters, Lizzie and Wendy. This was actually written by Stephen Davis and Kelvin Yu. So, yeah, the Molyneux sisters were doing a lot, and then they were like, nope, not this one, which, maybe give it back to them. It's okay.
Yeah.
This episode contains the longest end credit sequence on the show to date. It lasts about 1 minute and 30 seconds.
Okay.
All of the notes I wrote down are lines.
Yeah, I wrote down quite a few lines as well.
I love the, well, that doesn't sound very erotic, which is totally fine. No, some stuff happens with a pig. Oh, some suggestive situations. Implied nudity.
I wrote that line down too. It's just bad and boring like avocado toast.
I mean, do you guys like school? I've never asked you that.
Which is a good thing. Like, I appreciate that he's acknowledging this.
He's like, wait a minute, I've never asked if you've actually
No.
enjoyed that or not.
What's the most erotic temperature you can cook a turkey at?
Did you say 375?
Yeah, that was the answer, was 375.
That was the answer. Oh my gosh. I know, I have to live with you.
You throw out that piece of toast that looked like it said, wow, that was a dark day.
How you doing, girl? Not great. I feel like my soul has diarrhea. What?
Who said that?
That was Tina.
That was Tina? Okay. I should never put the Z on the end. That's my biggest regret in all of this mez.
Do you have any more lines?
Yeah, I have two more.
All right.
I liked the line "Save the drama for the stage," Tina C. Williams, because the captions
Tennessee
are people.
Williams.
It's meant to be Tennessee Williams, but the caption was Tina C. Williams, and I'm like, that doesn't make any sense.
No, that's the reference. He called her Tina C. Williams as the reference.
No, okay. Either way, I was like, it makes the reference harder to tell for people. That's not my point.
That is valid.
But then pancakes and/or waffles speak louder than words.
That should be embroidered on a pillow.
I think it should. Yeah, this episode was interesting. Because it was about what I expect out of a producer's parody, where they're trying to get like other than obviously the point of the producers is the reference there is that they're trying to create a musical that will flop so badly they can keep all because I think there's with the way that investments work, if a show closes in a certain amount of time, you're not required to pay back your investments.
Oh.
So that's I think that's where that comes from. So basically, if it closes on day one, it's just considered a loss, basically.
Oh,
so
wow.
that's the point of the producers, if they're trying to create a musical so offensive that it will close immediately. And this is a case of they're trying to create a Thanksgiving play that is so offensive it'll close immediately and they'll get sent home for the day.
I mean, like, giblets and gizzards will do that to people.
Yeah, but I appreciate Louise's immediate regret. Like, as soon as it blows up, she's like, oh, I fucked up.
Exactly. As soon as it all goes out, she sees how everybody's reacting. She's like, oh, that's not how. Nope, not what I imagined. I messed up.
Like, oh,
Tina,
no
what do I do?
No one's gonna be scarred from this, right? Forever. So it's I appreciate, but like I say, holiday assemblies though, like at schools, generally I feel like are better than class. Is in any.
I mean, but if the choice can be that or no class,
I guess. Well,
technically they're supposed to have the half day.
I don't remember if I ever had a half day the day before Thanksgiving. I don't think I did.
We used to have like the whole week off.
No, we always had Black Friday off, but I think I want to say we had a full day of school on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
I feel like we had I don't think we did. I think we at least had the 3 days or a full week. Now they do like a fall break where I'm at. Like the kids get it. Not that it matters for us. We homeschool. Yeah. But the kids tend to get like a full week for fall break now. Because I think maybe it was only the 3 days that we had. I'm old, okay? I've been out of school for over a decade. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I mean, I can really go back sometime and ask my husband what they did that time of year.
What was it like in the Great Depression? It was fine.
I mean, he was in school in like the 90s. So, I mean, I was being born and he was in, elementary school.
Mm-hmm.
That's a gap. Anyways.
That is a gap. But yeah, I was trying to remember because I think I wrote down I thought my school's geography bowl was the day before Thanksgiving, but I think that was the last day before Christmas usually. Because that was a thing of like a month before whatever in your social studies class, everyone would take like a quiz about like that was like a geography quiz. They stopped doing it by the time I was a senior, or my teachers just stopped giving it to us. I don't entirely remember what the case was.
Look, just please focus on geography, some guys, like, please.
But it was a case of, so like it was based off of whatever period you had social studies. That was what period you would go to the Geo Bowl is what we called it. And then I think the top people who scored in the top 20 got to it wasn't assembly, but everyone who scored in the top 20 on that quiz got to go on stage and like actually like participate in the Geo Bowl. I think I got in once.
Okay.
I think I got it in my 10th grade year.
We never really did stuff like that. It was very much like I feel like you get to like the Halloween point of the year already, and teachers are like, "Where's my Christmas break?" Especially these days, like kids are
right.
wild. So getting even to like Thanksgiving, they're just like, "I'm done with you. Just stop. Here's a coloring sheet. Leave me alone." Look, we used to get competitive with the word searches. We were competitive with those, especially we got excited. Even in high school, some of the teachers would give them to us. I'm like, I'm gonna finish first. I loved those. Because no one does anything at school the week of Thanksgiving. Like, even if you're there, you're not doing anything.
Nope. I read that, to be fair, with their idea, because I'm like, in what universe does it make sense that Frond would let the Belchers design the Thanksgiving play? Like, in what universe does that logically make sense? However, the base premise of the Quirky Turkey, you take out any of the erotic stuff, but the base premise is, in fact, right up his alley.
It very much is. He wouldn't approve of the exploding turkey heads.
No.
But the other portions, I feel like he would have been fine with.
Yeah, well, the underlying message of they're all mean to me, and then they kind of get their comeuppance and realize that I was actually okay the entire time, kind of thing. Like,
he'd throw a wrench in there somewhere and make it kind of wrong, but yeah.
It's like just he has to.
It's Frond.
But it's just I wrote down, this dance sequence is horrendous. I like it.
I love when Louise is checking in with Gene on music and he plays a note and he's like, "That's all I got so far."
Which is about right for what we know for his musical skill,
right?
But I liked that the underlying music was like to both Linda with Grandpa Potato and then the kids with their dance rehearsals was it was very clearly modeled after the intro to On Broadway, which is a song.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, like it was like the music. It's like the intro is very similar, because I was thinking I know it was written by Carole King and her first husband, I think.
Okay.
I don't know who the original people are that sang it. It's like I don't know, like if you were to look up the song On Broadway, I don't know who the artist is that would show up as the performed by. But it's like it's very much like the neon lights are bright on Broadway. Like it's very similar to like the intro beat.
Okay. See, you know more about that than I do. I would have never picked up on that.
I was watching a video today that was about the thought and how they went into what they did for Agatha's theme for Agatha All Along, and like the theme itself, and what they took from the song Agatha All Along, and what certain instruments they used, and why they used detuned versions of them to evoke certain emotions. And I'm like, this is so much thought that works so well that I appreciate and I understand, but also know that I would never put this much thought into music.
And that's why we don't have that job.
It's like, I'm not a composer. I consider myself a singer. Give me a song and I will sing it. Am I a musician? Sort of.
Your voice is an instrument.
It's an instrument. To be fair, I do play the ukulele.
That's so 2010s.
So 2010s. Oh, no, it is. I got it. I taught myself the summer of 2012.
I was technically an adult then.
Yes, you were.
I was.
It was the summer before my senior year of high school.
They really let me out of and let me be an adult. It was an interesting experience, 12 years ago.
Yeah.
God. I gotta stop doing the math.
We really gotta stop doing that math there.
And it's just gonna get worse as time passes.
It really does. But one of my last notes on this episode, although before one of my other notes that's funny, but the song that Tina sings towards the very end, I'm like, this is very heartfelt and I appreciate it, but it is no Pass the Cranberry sauce.
It is not. I mean, we got the guts.
No.
We got the glory.
Like it's a good song, but nothing
Pass
like
the cranberry sauce.
The cranberry sauce.
We're having mashed potatoes.
Potato.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being there.
Everyone's okay.
The whole world's thanking you.
Thanking us.
Listen to it on Spotify. You don't kill the turkey. Like,
I love that we're just like back and forth with pieces of it.
It's what we have to do with the lag. It's fine. But it just it doesn't. It's hard to top that as a Thanksgiving song. But one of my last funny notes was like, turkey and pig romances should not be a thing.
I mean, she said there was some suggestive stuff with a pig. I mean,
But then they were just making out at the end.
Well, because she had to make it for stage. I have a feeling what is in that notebook was not what was written for stage. Because she was not trying to get the show shut down. She was actually like, cool.
No, this is true. She was trying
hard. So I could see Tina being like, no, I shouldn't put that on stage for the whole school to see. But still,
I did appreciate though. I appreciated though that they did have like an actually good performed, produced version of the songs for the end credits. I like that.
The minute and 30 seconds or 20 seconds of
event credits.
Which is a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. Like I love that they picked who they thought would be the worst cast ever, and in reality, they did a really good job. But what did you think of Grandpa Potato?
I mean, I do agree. Old men just kind of look like potatoes. Like, there's. I mean, I agree with that sentiment. It's not incorrect.
It is not incorrect.
But maybe we don't parade the potato around like he's actually your grandfather.
Because I love the person's reaction behind her, and she's like, "He's watching." Like, Linda, put the potato back in your purse, please.
Yeah, like the guy, like maybe don't intentionally block the guy's view with a potato is probably not the best. Also, at some point, I mean, potatoes last a while, but
they usually
there's a limit.
They need to be in like a dark, dry place to stay
exactly. Like
so back in the purse.
So back in the purse, like, but the purses aren't exactly the driest.
Not place. Linda's.
Not Linda's. Depending on what you have in there, it really depends. But but the potato should probably go back to the kitchen.
This is such a good line, though, and she's just, oh my gosh, I know, I have to live with you. That is marriage. That is marriage.
That is marriage. Mm-hmm.
So, what did you rate the Quirk-ducers?
The Quirk-ducers gets 9s across the board. This one got a 27.
Not bad. I'm okay with this. I gave character 10 just because, once again, all characters are being themselves to a T.
Yeah.
And, like, Tammy is not unbearable in this episode.
She's not. And honestly, the thing with the harmonizing, when she asked Jocelyn, like, what do you think you're doing? Isn't harmonizing just when I sing louder than you?
No.
But also, here's the thing. Matching notes is also a skill that is hard to do.
It's very hard to do.
So, points to Jocelyn.
I do like, though, that, like, they all got along great. They did a great job.
Yeah.
I mean, even Zeke jumping in there and doing, like, because he's trying to do the dancing thing, and he was like, I'm going to do this. I got this.
He was so confused. It was so adorable.
And I gave plot and personal both 8, so this gets a 26 from me.
Okay.
I'm not mad about it.
Good scores. No, these are good scores. Zeke as a character, he surprisingly grew on me, because the very first episode that he came in, I was like, do I have to see a lot more of this kid? But, like, he genuinely is just enthusiastic about everything.
I feel like he is the class clown character, but really fleshed out.
Yeah, like because like I feel like many people have experienced the class clown who's like actually an asshole, and the class clown who's like just genuinely trying to lighten the mood.
Yes,
in most cases.
Zeke is the second,
and he's that one. He's definitely the latter in that. He's genuinely trying to lighten the mood where he can. And
it's a wonderful time, and he really tries to be a really good friend. Obviously, we've seen the episode where he tries to be just really great to his grandmother. Like, Zeke is a good kid. He gets in trouble because he has impulse control, as class clowns usually do. But Zeke is he's such a breath of fresh air sometimes. It's really interesting. And we're talking about a kid that pooped all over the school. But, like, it's a class clown for you.
It is. So it's me liking him as a character and finding him endearing. That surprises me more than Gene growing on me, because Gene again makes sense because he's in the main 5. He's in every episode. That makes sense. Zeke, it's like Jimmy Jr. He's not in every episode. He's in enough for me to be invested in him as a character, whether positively or negatively, depends on the character.
If you ever start liking the twins, I may pick up drinking again.
That's never gonna happen. That has a whole other list of reasons why that's never happening. Thank you all for listening. Join us next time when we discuss Once Upon a Time, episode 318, Bleeding Through. Don't forget to like, rate, and follow the podcast wherever you listen, so you can be notified every time we publish a new episode. Follow us at OBDYK_pod on Instagram and TikTok. And if you'd like to join our Patreon, you can find the link with more details in our show notes.
This has been an episode of Okay, But Did You Know? A TV and media podcast. It was hosted by Katie and Lauren and edited by Katie.